Okay.
Okay, guys, I am super excited to welcome our next guest. So let's get freaky. We have got Toni with us. How are you?
Doing fabulous. Doing fabulous. How are you, Tommy?
I'm good, thank you. I'm excited to have
Good.
you on the show.
Same
We,
here. Same here.
yeah, we connected quite recently on Twitter or X, shall I say? We talked on
Right.
X.
Ex Twitter.
Yeah, and I'm very excited. I know you've had some pretty amazing experiences, so I'm excited to get into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've had some pretty amazing experiences. And as we spoke before, it's just so wonderful to have a community to talk about this with,
Yeah.
and to share our experiences and connect.
Yes. Yeah. We were saying
Yeah,
before, you find your tribe. You put out your
exactly.
vibe, you find your
Exactly.
tribe.
Yes, yes. Our paranormal tribe.
That's it. And there's a lot of us.
Yeah, yeah.
What part of
So
the US are you in right now?
right now I'm in Oklahoma.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Oklahoma. I lived in California, and then from California, I moved to Louisiana for about a year, and then moved back to California, and then from California again. Now I'm in Oklahoma.
Nice.
It's great here. It's really great. Very, very kickback, very, very beautiful scenery. It's totally different to a lot of the hustle and bustle in California. Not that California isn't great, because I loved it. I was born and raised there. I absolutely love California. It was just time to move, and just start something new. That's all.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we're really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I love that you. I want to get over there. I want to go everywhere in the US. That's the dream
I
one day.
wish you would. You know what?
Yeah.
We have a spare bedroom. You're welcome.
Oh, I'm
Welcome to
coming.
come and stay.
Oh,
You
thank
are
you.
welcome to come and
I
stay.
am coming next
Yeah,
week.
you love it. You love it. You love it. You love it.
Oh, thank you
Probably
very
not in the
much.
winter. What's that?
I know. I said thank you very much.
Oh,
Oh,
you're so welcome. But probably not in the winter. It's going to get cold.
that's cool. I'm used to that in the UK. We get a lot
Yeah.
of rain and cold,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
there. That'll be awesome.
Right. Yeah.
So
This
when
is,
it
yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
I was going to say when it comes to the paranormal, where did it
Yeah.
all start for you?
It started for me, believe it or not, in 1964 at the age of 4 years old.
Oh,
My first paranormal experience was absolutely terrifying. Um, I, I, whew, I remember this as so vividly in my mind 60 years later. And this is actually the reason why I've decided to go ahead and start sharing my other experiences as well, but especially this one, because it has basically haunted me for 60 years. And, as we spoke before, in the 60s and then on up, there was nobody that you could talk to about this stuff. um, there wasn't anybody, and you wouldn't dare tell a doctor or anything. They might have you committed. But now finding that there are so many other people, it's just absolutely liberating. Anyway, I'll go ahead and give you an idea how it started. um, where I grew up, in Anaheim, California, in our house, uh, one evening I woke up in the middle of the night. You know how you get that feeling where you can just feel something, and it's so strange to have that kind of feeling when you're tiny, But with the way we lived is my father passed away right before I was born. So
sorry to hear
it
that.
was, thank you. It was just my mother, my grandmother, who was his mother, and my sister and I, just us four ladies. And we would switch off either sleeping with grandma or sleeping with mom. And this one night I slept with my mother. Um, anyway, so I was closest to the corner when I woke up, and and I could, as I get again, I could feel something staring at me. And so I opened my eyes, and here is this little boy, probably about 7 years old, I would say, but he wasn't exactly I mean, he was full-bodied apparition, and he was illuminated, totally illuminated. I mean, bright. And he had really large eyes, not like they were black and dark and you know, like the movies or anything like that. It was a child. And I was more curious about why he was in our bedroom than I was frightened by him. And, you know, being 4 years old, you can't process that kind of thing at all. So you're like, oh, here's almost like, here's a little boy to play with me in the middle of the night. And my mom was right next to me. And, you know, I just sat and stared at this precious boy, and he had the most devastating look on his face. I mean, like he was just having, like he was in so much distress. His brows were furrowed. He was just staring at me, and we never spoke a word. I didn't even bother to wake up mom. We never spoke a word. I just laid there and stared at him, and it was either like he was begging me or pleading with me to either help him or forgive him for what was going to happen next. And yeah, exactly. And it was like almost in an instant, another entity stepped out from behind him, from this dark abyss in the corner, you know. And he was a very, very, very tall man. Okay, again, illuminated. And the best way for me to explain him to you is, and it's almost ironic, but he was a skeletal man, and with
Wow.
big eyes that were popping out. This is like, my heart is just going like this right now talking about it. It gives me this, if you can see, I mean, this is not, I'm not faking this. This is real. It's one that's very, very difficult to talk about, but since I recently wrote about it, it's getting a little bit easier. Anyway, so he stepped out of the corner, and I could see this look in his face. I was instantly terrorized. I was terrified. I was like beyond terrified. And you know how you get that sense, and it just comes and it rushes in your body, and I'm still shaking, and your heart's palpitating, and but you're so terrified you can't even speak. And as a little tiny child, you really are shocked, because again, never having a man in the house in my entire life. I mean, I was scared of Santa Claus, for goodness sakes. So I wasn't prepared for this. And besides, he was a skeleton, but yet he could use his face, manipulate his face for expression. And his mouth was so wide, I could count his teeth. And when he grinned either large or larger, you know, bigger, wider. And I'm telling you, I couldn't even make a sound, you know, that kind of thing. And anyway, he looked at me with this look that just, oh my gosh, I knew I'm in trouble. And still, mom is asleep right next to me. And he stepped out further, and then I looked to the corner again. You know, I'm just watching him, because he's up here, and the little boy would have been down here, right? You know, a smaller child. And as he's stepping out and he's looking at me, I mean, with this just like happy, you know, so happy to be tormenting a child. My focus was on him, and then I looked for a moment at the corner again to see if the little boy was there, and of course he was gone. Yeah, he was gone. So it was almost like maybe he was like a what do you call bait,
Yeah.
baiting me, so I would keep my attention in that corner for a while, long enough for that other entity to come out. That's what I started to sense. You know, I mean, I sense now, excuse me. It was either that or he was just so sorry that this was going to happen, and he knew, as a child himself, or child spirit himself, that this was going to happen. Now, I wouldn't call the skeleton man anything else but a demon. That's just all there is to it. He was evil. So in this house, in our house, in the bedroom, excuse me, my mother had assigned a cabinet for me to keep all my things in, you know, my coloring books, my crayons, and a pair of dull-edged scissors. You know, it's the kids' school scissors. And so I put all these things in there. I never deviated from this practice. Every single day, that's what I did. Every day, never deviated from it. And anyway, so I should have mentioned that first probably, but anyway, the skeleton man, again, he starts to step a little bit closer and a little bit closer. But now you got to understand, their movement, or his movement at least, was not like our movement. It's not fluid. It's more like a strobe light movement.
Yeah.
But you see this, you know, this jagged movement kind of, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And he walked over again. He's moving kind of in a jagged way. And he walked over to my cabinet, opened the door of the cabinet, turned back around to look at me to make sure he still had my attention. And again, I'm like this, you know, and shaking in the bed, you know. I can't even muster a scream, or, you know, it's like that, you know, your air is caught here, you know, and in your throat, and you don't have even the ability to scream, cry, or do anything. You're just petrified with fear. And then, as I said, he turned around and looked at me to make sure, you know, that I was watching, and his grin got even bigger again, you know, just anyway. And then he put his bony hand inside the cabinet and pulled something out. And as he turned around, he had my scissors in his hands, and he's going like this towards me. This is the God's honest truth. I am not, this is the God's honest truth. That's why it scares me so bad to even talk about it 60 years later. I scrambled in the bed and scrambled under the covers and went over my mother, and finally I could scream, you know, and I started screaming, and I kept the blankets over my head. And I'm huddled next to her, and I'm crying and screaming in between, you know, cries, and just hysterical, absolutely hysterical. And of course, my mom is just calling my name, Toni, 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 you know, thinking that maybe I was having a dream. I was not having a dream. And I'm under there. I'm just still under the bed. And of course, she hasn't even jumped up or anything, because she's just, you know, her immediate attention is on me, like what, you know. Then she did. Then no, excuse me. Then I'm just like shivering and with, you know, trembling like crazy. And sorry, I gotta stop for 1 second.
Okay.
And this part's so hard. And I'm still crying and screaming, and I lifted the blanket just a tiny bit, you know, hoping he was gone, that at least mom's awake now. He's got to be gone. I was so wrong. His face was right here with those scissors, right in my face. Oh my gosh. The terror had just gotten to a all new high, you know. I don't know, I woke up the entire house. Grandma, my sister come running in. My mom jumps up, turns on the light, and I'm screaming still. I'm still just screaming like crazy. And my mom checks me over to make sure it's not a medical emergency, because of course nobody has seen this but me. And of course, it's everything checks out. I don't have a fever. I don't have any, I didn't get bit by a spider. I'm not like pointing or rubbing a certain part of my body. And so what we did was my mom had my sister sleep with her, and I went and slept with grandma. Well, I just laid in grandma's bed crying, until I finally went to sleep. I cried myself to sleep, just so scared, waiting for daylight. And the next morning I had to go into the bedroom, my mom's room, to get my shoes that I took off. And so I walked around the bed where they would have been, because remember, I jumped over on my mother's side, but before I jumped over her body over here, but I was sleeping on this side first. So my shoes would have been right here on this side, right on the side where I first went to sleep. And they weren't there. And I thought, I'm creeping in there, first of all, scared to death to even see anything else. And I turned the lights on and everything, and then the shoes weren't there. So I walked back around the bed where he peeked at me, and I'll be doggone if the scissors weren't on the floor.
Wow.
Honest to God.
Wow.
I am not. Yeah. It was absolute 100% verifiable proof that it happened.
Yeah.
And I've tried to mull it over for years, like what happened and why did this happen? And the only thing I can come up with is that, that skeletal man was probably an owner of that house at some time, and who knows, that little boy might have been abducted and murdered. And that's what I pick up from it.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it still affects me that way. I mean, when I started writing it out, I'm crying, I'm surprised I'm not crying now, but I guess it's because we're on TV. No, but it's that was really, really, really hard. And it was absolute proof. Anyway, so that happened in 1964. In 1970, now let me back up a second here. I never slept in my mother's room again, by the way, ever.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep in mom's room anymore. But that happened in 1964. So we're still in this house till 1971. But in 70, thank goodness this happened, and I hope everybody else was okay. We had an earthquake. Okay, this is California, so we have a lot of earthquakes in California. And when that happened, the overhanging, suspended overhang, a shelter for the front door collapsed. And when that collapsed, they condemned the house. The city condemned the house. The house had to be at least 100 years old, maybe more.
Wow.
And I suspect that there were little neighboring cottages in this courtyard, what we call the courtyard. We all shared a common address, but each house was numbered alphabetically. Okay, and there was only 7 houses in all. And here's another odd thing for me to mention is all the other houses, or little cottages actually, were facing east and west. Ours was the only one that faced north and south. Really bizarre. I don't know if that has something to do with the compass and energy, and who knows, I don't know.
Possibly.
But anyway, what was that?
Possibly is, yeah, it could be.
I don't know. But again, our house was old, the other houses were not. Okay, so it had to have been there long before they ever built the other small little cottages in the neighboring cottages.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when the city condemned the house, we got to move in 1971. And they finally demolished the house. We left in 71. They finally demolished the house, but they left the solid front porch that was made of cement. That was left behind. Tommy, that was left behind for a good 20 years later or so.
Interesting.
Can you imagine? Every time I drove by, I could see that doggone cement porch still there. They didn't take that thing out till the 1980s. Why is that? You know, this constant reminder that this horrible thing happened to me every time I drove by. You know.
So you stayed in that area.
Yeah. My mom bought a house in the area, not too far, but fortunately not too close either.
Yeah.
Another house that, to tell you the truth, I got the creeps in, but not like that.
Yeah. Wow. I mean that is a terrifying experience for a 4-year-old to go through something like that as well.
Yeah. I mean, it literally it just changed everything about life. You know, prior to that, you know how a child is, you have this perfect little mind and everything is all good. And, you know, all you want to do is play with your dolls or your trucks or whatever it is, you know, and just enjoy life.
Yeah.
As a child, you know, because we're so innocent then. But it took my innocence, my mental innocence. You know, nothing was ever the same again. Nothing was ever the same. And that angers me. But it also angers me that I can't get past that something happened to this child, the child spirit. I can't get past it.
Did you ever look at the history of the house, or I don't know if there's any records that you could still find now or anything like that? But
yeah, another friend had sent me a link or a company that can find out records, you know, even if long ago, even if they're really old. But I don't think they can find anything on here since everything has been torn down. I mean, all the houses were removed. Eventually, they sold the property, and now 2 condominiums, I think, are standing there. I've checked the address, and there's 2 buildings there. Either they're 2 condominiums or 2 big houses.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So I don't know. The only thing I could possibly do is check for death records or something. I don't know. But this is it's been a long time since I've been able to talk about it. I might have told in my lifetime 4 people, and now the whole world gets to know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean,
absolutely.
What a terrifying experience. When I was 10 years old, I saw an entity in my room, a man, and that was terrifying. Like, I was very scared. It still has stayed with me, like you. It stayed with me all my life since. But it wasn't as bad as your experience, where whatever that evil thing was looking at you and you know, coming to. I mean, that is terrifying.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish I would have brought some tissue in here.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to get some tissue, that's absolutely fine.
No, I'll be all right. It's just, you know, I think about other children, you know, what they might be experiencing, and I wonder how many other children this horrible entity, this malevolent entity, terrorized before me.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's true about that poor darling child, that really rips my heart out. You know, that really rips my heart out. But at 4 years old, what could I have done? You know?
Yeah, you can't even fully understand.
Of course
the
not.
magnitude of what you were seeing then, you know, that must have been so confusing. And I mean, that boy, when you saw the boy, you didn't get a bad vibe from him at the time?
No, none. I mean, as I said, we didn't say a word to each other. It was as though we were telepathically speaking, but yet not really speaking, because, like, what do you say at 4 years old? You know, I mean,
that's the thing. Yeah.
For whatever reason, he just I was more curious than frightened of him. Like, what is this little boy doing in our room? And okay, that kind of thing. But when I can't call him anything else but a demon, when he walked out,
Yeah.
the whole atmosphere changed. The whole, just everything changed in an instant. In an instant, it was no longer like a curiosity. It was like, how do I get away from him? And I was so petrified. I could not move. I could not scream. I couldn't do anything. So by this time, I can't even wake up my mother.
Yeah.
You know, until just finally I could finally move, and that's when I started scrambling over her and under the covers and yeah, getting on the other side of her.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's terrifying. And did you
Mhm.
say he just like a skeleton? That was
Yeah,
just
yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned, he literally had blue eyes.
wow. Were they like
Blue,
glowing?
blue.
Was that a glow
Yeah,
or
yeah. Well, I think they looked more natural than anything else. But they were obviously his sockets, I mean, he didn't have really any skin, but yet he could manipulate his features,
yeah.
or bone, skull, facial features. Um, it, I, if you ever seen those, this is what's funny. You ever see these big skeletons that people display in their yard, and they've got those blue
Yeah.
eyes, and you can get them at like Home Depot and then like
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like, except for he was a whole lot realer, a whole lot
Wow.
more real. And it's funny because I'll sign my name, or sign a email or what have you with skulls, and
Hmm.
people don't get it, and it's not because uh, I'm embracing it. I'm trying to get over it.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen some skeleton bangs that I go, oh no. And my husband just says, don't look, don't look. And oh man,
So
I still avoid them,
when
but
yeah. When you see these skeletons that people have got outside the house, obviously we're around Halloween at the moment. There's a lot of them about. Do you still get
yeah,
that
no,
brings back a
no,
nasty but no, that's good.
no, no, not unless it's got blue eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then
It's
I try not to look at it too
yeah,
much. But as a child, it used to freak me out. I mean, it scared me to death to see any of those kind of displays. Um, now it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of uh Halloween things. As a matter of fact, I have a family member who just really relish this stuff. So I'm cool with that. Not a big deal. It's just, yeah, I every now and then I'll think of something, or if I'm looking at something online and I go, oh, look at
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I find it difficult to stare at them. you know,
Did your
that's,
anyone else in your family see anything in that house?
oh no, at least nobody told me. Again, my sister was only 5 years older than me. So if I was 4, she was only 9. But she never seemed to have experienced anything in that house. Now, I probably should tell you, in my family, my mother had paranormal experiences. My grandmother did, and my sister did as well, but not in that house.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of a family trait, I
yeah. It
guess.
normally is.
One
That's normally the way.
Yeah, but one that I wish I didn't have, because
Yeah,
honestly, people talk about this as being a gift. I am sorry, it is not a gift for me. I
yeah,
don't want it. I don't want to have any more encounters, and yet I have. you
yeah,
know, there have been others, not as terrifying as that. Even though, um, again, living in California, I owned my house at this time. This time, when I purchased a little house in a small town in California, and the house was built in 1932, so it was old. It was old. I bought the house in 2002, so it was old enough, right? And anyway, before I bought it, the owner, the prior owner had done some refurbishing, like customized windows and things like that. Just a small little tiny house. The house was only about 900 square feet, really small. And anyway, he did some other work. I'm trying to think what else, what other work. Oh yeah, he added on the back bedroom, which is more of like a master suite, because at one time it only had one bedroom, one bath, a little living room, a little dining room, little teeny dining room, and a kitchen. But they added on an extra bedroom area towards the back of the house, plus the garage. Well, I moved in and I was just, just happy as could be. Here, I've got my own house. Now I'm so happy. And one night I went ahead, instead of sleeping in the back bedroom, I went ahead and slept in the front bedroom, which was the only, the original bedroom. And I just laid on a lounge chair, and I had my dog with me. And she and I slept in there, and I just, I shut the door. There was nobody else. I don't even know why I shut the door, but I shut the door. Probably in case somebody was going to knock on the front door or something, like kind of avoid, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I shut the door, and she and I went to sleep. She slept on the floor, and I slept on this lounge chair. Maybe I just wanted a new experience in the house. I don't know. And I got one. In the middle of the night, for absolutely no reason, I didn't have the door locked or anything. By the way, let me back up a little bit. I didn't have the door locked. I just shut the door. And in the middle of the night, I'm just sleeping peacefully. I mean, totally out, just completely out, completely asleep. My dog is asleep. We're both asleep. And out of nowhere, something just pulled me up and ripped me out off of the lounge chair. This is the truth. Again, God's honest truth. Honest to goodness. And started literally throwing me around the room. And I'm screaming, and I'm getting hurt, but I can't feel anybody. I can't see anybody. The only light that was coming in through the bedroom was the street light from, between, through the blinds. So again, I was pulled out of bed. I'm getting shoved around all over the place, and I'm trying to get to my bedroom door, and whatever it was grabbed me and threw me into the bathroom, because it was a tiny bathroom, and the only bathroom, by the way, in the whole house, and then a little closet. And I got slammed into the bathroom. I'm slammed against this glass of the shower, and almost broke the glass. But then I'm pulled back out again, and I mean, I'm screaming. I'm thinking, honestly thinking that there's somebody in the house. I want to get out. I want to get out. That's all I wanted to do. And I'm scrambling for the door, and I can't open the door. So I'm thinking, okay, somebody else is standing, on the other side to stop me from opening the door, or something is going on here. I can't open the door no matter how hard I pulled and pushed and pulled. And I'm grabbed. I mean, I have only a second to do that. And I'm grabbed again, and now I'm thrown into the closet. Meanwhile, my dog is yelping because she's getting hurt from who knows what. She's yelping too. And I still haven't seen anybody. I don't even actually feel hands, but then I do. I don't know how to explain that. You can feel this force. It's like a force that just, just pulls you out, and you're like a rag doll. I mean, a rag doll. And I'm getting slammed again. I'm getting slammed all over. I'm slammed into the dresser. I'm slammed into, again, I get slammed into the closet. I had another closet that was like a portable type, and I was slammed into that. By the time this, whatever it was, and I'm screaming, crying, and begging, to stop, and praying, and it just, I don't know what happened. what it was, it must have, all of this must have taken place like right before daylight, because the moment that daylight actually shone through the window, through the blind, I'm on the floor. My whole room, and this room is just destroyed. Things are broken everywhere. Everywhere things are broken. And my poor dog is like at the door, just like begging to get out, And so I finally, the door just opened like that. No problems whatsoever. I could barely get it open for all the things that were broken. Shoes were, the clothes were everywhere. All these items were broken. It was a tornado. It was like a tornado hit that room. And
Wow.
and even if it was just me, even if it was just me being thrown around and knocking stuff over, it wouldn't have made this much mess. There's no way it would have destroyed this room like this. And let me tell you, when we got out of that room, me and my dog, she would never go in that room again. I had to go in there to use the shower because there's only one shower in the whole house. Now, later on, I found out from neighbors across the street that I didn't even know the house had been refurbished, and or what do where they do all kinds of construction and things like that. I didn't even know this stuff except for the back room. You could tell that it was an add-on,
Yeah.
and yeah, and the garage I knew, because you could tell. You could tell it wasn't a 1932 model there. And she told me that she participated, and a lot of other people participated in some very unsavory acts in my house before I bought it. Thank you very much.
Wow. Your neighbor told you that?
Yeah, she told me that before I bought it, that somebody else had owned it before the guy I bought it from. I guess no, he owned it. This gentleman owned it. He rented it out. And during that time, seems that everybody wanted to do some sort of partying, but it wasn't just that. They were doing a lot of other things, as far as from what she told me.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I'm thinking, did it leave this essence there? Did it leave all this, evil, wicked stuff? And maybe this entity or whatever the heck it was, because I never saw a thing. I didn't see anybody. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
But it's just like the movies. Honest to goodness, it's just like the movies. You get, you see these people getting flown around and such. It's just like that, and you think that would be the one that would scare me the most. It isn't.
Yeah,
The one
that's
that happened to me
terrifying.
as a child, that scared me the most.
Wow.
But yeah. So there's okay. So those are my two worst. And I'm sure I'm missing out on saying on mentioning something between either one of those, because I'm just like all amped up. But I think I've given you exactly what is close enough to
Oh,
accurate.
thank you for sharing that.
You're so welcome.
Wow, and that's terrifying as well. Have you got any idea of what things were taking place in the house? What was it?
Oh yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
satanic rituals and stuff like that?
There is likely there was some of that, but there were like orgies and
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah. And when when
Just
sometimes
bad energy.
sometimes when you participate in things, you leave an energy behind, a bad energy behind,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Maybe it was mad that I wasn't doing that, and then I don't know. I'm just going to be silly. No, but
Wow.
I just have to lighten up the moment for
Yeah.
a second. But I mean, it was just me and my dog, for goodness sakes. Leave
Was
us
there,
alone.
when you moved there, when you first bought the house, did you get any bad vibes from it or anything like that?
No, that's
So this
what's
was a complete shock. Yeah.
I mean, I painted some of the places in the interior. Oh, it was so cute. And I was just so proud of my little house. I bought new, really nice blinds. I had them custom made. And furniture and things like that, and just I furnished the place really, really cute. Like I said, it was it was a very small house. It was only, what did I say, with 900 square feet, but that's with the garage, by the way. So you
Yeah.
can imagine how small this place was. But it was like I used to call it Little House on the Prairie, because it was a small house, but it was a quarter acre land, so so I loved my little house. I absolutely loved it, but I
Wow.
wasn't too sad about selling it.
Did you
And
leave quite quick after that happened, or?
no, I didn't. I couldn't. But it wasn't until it was several years, like, gosh, I was there for 14 years, 14, yeah, 14, about 14 years. And I sold it to these people that just flipped houses. And what they did is they just redid a bunch of stuff too. They went ahead and did some uh, construction as well, and they put in a driveway, and they put in a carport and things like that, and they fixed it up very nice. The house when I owned it had an entrance on the side, and what they did is they took and opened up the front and put an entrance in the front instead. So they did all kinds of work, and then they sold it. All I can say is I hope nothing's happening to anybody else. And probably isn't. What's really cool is I looked at the house online when when um when it was for sale, and the wall between the living room and that bedroom that I'm telling you about, that original bedroom, the wall was knocked out, and the whole thing was made into a living room. So I doubt that something's going to happen. I'm actually glad that they did it exactly like that. They took that wall out and made it one whole living room, and then they kept they instead of having the bathroom there, they put a closet there, and then they had a bathroom at the back end of the house. So they did a good job. I'm guessing that their upgrades and so forth won't cause anything, because it was really only in that bedroom. It never
Yeah.
happened anywhere in the house but there. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you experience that again, or was that a one-off?
Only the one time, and only in that bedroom, that one time that I slept in that bedroom. I never slept in there again. My dog would not go in there. Not He wouldn't even
Yeah.
cross that threshold. She wouldn't even cross that threshold. But I did have to access that room in order to get to the bathroom and the shower, because there wasn't a shower or bathroom in the back part of the house where the master bedroom was, or the
Yeah.
larger room that I used as a bedroom. Even though there was no bathroom to it, there was just a big, large room. And so I used that for my bedroom. But I don't know what possessed me to sleep in there. I don't know if we were just having like a little camping thing, she and I,
Yeah.
or just experience something different. It was our house. Let's check it out. Let's go sleep in here, baby. And so we did. But it was only that room. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know if it was because of what the neighbors left, and the energy that they left, or if something else happened prior. Again, 1932. The house is 1932. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, how do you access this stuff, or it really truly, because records are not always accurate.
No.
You
Yeah. And I always say as well, I mean, even though the house was built in the 30s, I mean, there was stuff there before. Who knows what
Right.
was there before, so you can go into a forest and there's ghosts and
Oh
hauntings there.
gosh.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can you can build on something, burial lands and all sorts. There's all sorts of possibilities.
Mhm, mhm. Oh gosh, isn't that the truth? Yeah, you hear about it all the time. Uh, so many develop. It's just like the movie. So many
Yeah,
developers will build right on top of graves, and
yeah, yeah.
it's horrible. It's horrible. I would be mortified to find that out. So those are the two worst. Now I got
Wow,
more.
wow. Yeah, I want it. I want it all if you don't mind.
You want to know? Okay.
Wow. Can I
Okay,
just
so
say, can I just say, sorry, before we go,
please.
did you always get a bad vibe after that night in that room?
Yes,
So there was
yes.
always that feeling that there was
Yeah,
something.
I believe it. I don't know if it was the vibe that I got because something was still there or the memory. It's just like when I was little, I didn't want to sleep with mom in mom's room anymore.
Yeah,
I wasn't about to sleep in this bedroom anymore at the house that I owned. I don't know. It's it leaves an imprint, and that imprint just really messes with you. And you
yeah,
can't tell anybody. I mean, even if you do, they're like, they everybody's always been very kind to me because they do know me, and I wouldn't say something if it wasn't true. That's the way I am. There's no reason to fabricate something this horrific. It just isn't any reason to do something like that. It's too traumatizing, and it's
yeah,
very traumatizing to talk about. But it's gotten easier. And I so appreciate our conversation here.
yeah.
um
No, thank you.
because yeah, thank you. I think it's like therapeutic. Would you
Yeah,
know what
it's
I mean?
good. It's good to share your experiences. I know I've found it a lot easier talking about my experiences. I mean, I did talk, family knew what had happened and stuff like that, but it does get easier the more you put it out there, and the more you
Yeah.
hear other people's experiences. It does help. It is like a therapy.
And I hope that it'll help other people to hear. It's like, uh if your child tells you there's a monster in the room,
Yeah, yeah,
you might want to believe them. When my son was little, and anytime he said, "Mom, I can I sleep with you? I'm scared." You bet. Pull those covers over. Come on in, baby.
yeah.
Come
That's
lay
what we're like. Yeah, exactly
come
the
lay
same.
down. 'Cause I knew, I knew what that was like. Um, I see so many of these. I watch these paranormal shows now, which is something I didn't used to do. And you see these sweet little darlings. They have these little playmates that they call them imaginary. They're not imaginary.
Yeah,
I mean, I sure for some they might be like they're having a little tea party with somebody with their imaginary friends, but when your children are very adamant about something, it's real. Or if your animals are acting strange, that's real too.
yeah,
you know
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
kids and animals pick up on these things
Well, right, yeah.
seemingly more.
Well, children will, because we're not when we're tiny, we're not polluted by everything yet.
Yeah, yeah,
you
for sure.
know yeah, I mean, there's no more, there isn't any thing to stop it,
We're
because
open.
our
Yeah,
minds are so pure that anything can come in to our heads. Uh, it's I don't know, veils are lifted or veils are down. I don't know how to explain that, but we're very impressionable, and well, a tiny child is innocent to the point of being gullible. I
yeah,
mean, how you're kind of gullible. Somebody tells you, well, the Santa Claus, yeah, you
yeah,
believe it. We haven't had that time to really form opinions about things.
yeah.
And yeah, so we're easily manipulated that way.
I think
um
as well, like me and you, we both experienced things as kids, and when you have those
mhm.
strong experiences when you're a kid, it sort of stays you. And I think that's why a lot of people that have experiences when they're younger sort of seem to have experiences throughout their life, because we're
Yes.
open to it, because we know from a young age that there's more, that there's
Yeah.
something else happening around us.
Yeah, I agree. You're absolutely, you really hit that nail on the head. It's like did it condition us when we were little? You know, get ready, there's going to be more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's
Whether you
more.
like it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, be on the lookout because we're not done with it yet. You know, did they pick us? You know, this that I read something just recently that we don't exactly see these spirits. These spirits allow us to see them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought, what do
that's
you mean?
interesting.
Because yeah, you know, and I have to think about that because I certainly am not looking for them, you know, but they come to me, you
Yeah,
know, and for whatever reason, I wish I didn't see them because it's very unnerving. Um, a couple other incidences. So okay, so I sold my house in where I lived, at the one that I owned, and got married and moved to another area, which was nice, very nice actually. It we had a great big house, and I mean too big for two people. Anyway, and my husband was off on a business trip, and I'm upstairs and I'm in bed, and my dog Bonnie is still alive, and she's downstairs because she didn't even know how to go upstairs. She never had stairs, so she wouldn't do it. You know, she was the sweetest collie. You know,
oh,
funny she
lovely.
just yeah, very sweet, but she wouldn't go up the stairs. So I went up up the stairs, and of course, I set the alarms. You know how you do when you need to. Obviously, these days you always need to. Um, and uh, I I got into bed and I was asleep, just solid as could be. My husband's away on a business trip, and I literally felt something lay right next to me. I'm laying on my right side, and I mean, this was something right up against me. And I'm like, you know, you don't wake up right away, but then you do, and you're like, and I'm thinking, and all the while I'm thinking, okay, the alarms didn't go off. Did the alarm go off? Did the alarm? Is there somebody? You know, and I'm so scared, so frightened. I just close my eyes immediately. I don't want to see it, whatever it is. If it's a man, if it's an intruder, I won't let him know that I know he's there, because that's usually the worst thing you could do, is to allow an intruder to know that you're there, to spot them. So I didn't move. I didn't move. I didn't move. I didn't open. I closed my eyes again. You know how you when you wake up, you know, that kind of thing, and you know your husband or your wife is not there, whichever is not there, but there's somebody laying next to you all of a sudden. And I I I don't know. Again, I think this is again that peak time between 3 a.m. and say 4:30.
Yeah,
That's when things usually happen to me. Okay. Um, and I used to call it the witching hour,
yeah,
because I kind of still do call it the witching hour, as a matter of fact. Because it seems like there's this opening in this open space where things are allowed to come in and out more frequently at this point of time. You know, I don't know how to explain it, because I haven't quite tuned into the proper words and proper vocabulary and terminology for this stuff, because I haven't learned it yet. You know, again, remember, this is new to me to be able to talk about it. But anyway, I really believe that there is this spot in the day, and it's in the after hours, after the sun goes down and everybody's asleep, and because a lot of times that's the perfect time where people burglarize houses,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
um, or in those hours, because you're a lot more asleep. You know, you're in deepest sleep. Um, anyway, uh, every time I've had a paranormal experience, and I know this now because I can look back at the times when these things happened, and how long. I mean, when I was tiny, I couldn't reckon time, but I just waited for the sun to come up. You know, um, that when that happened to me as a little one. And, I mean, I fell asleep, I didn't really sleep soundly. I just kind of, dozed off a little bit and then woke up,
Yeah.
but as I've gotten older, I know it's between those hours. And here's more to give you an idea. So that thing, whatever it was that laid next to me, and again, I didn't see anything. I could only literally feel a body next to me. There wasn't anybody in the house, not anybody physical. There's no way there was somebody in the house. Those alarms would have went off like crazy,
Yeah.
and so I know for a fact that didn't happen. When the lights started shining through the upstairs window, that's when I got up. And again, I'm guessing it's like around between 3 or 4. It's the sunrise is about 5:30, something like that. Around that time, because this has happened I would want to say it was summertime, and the sunrise, rises earlier each time,
Yeah.
each season, or especially in the summer. And when the sun just barely starts to shine in the window is when I know, okay, it's time to get up. That's just like my clock. Now it's different because I'm up before 2 a.m. every day.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It seems like the older I get, the less sleep I get. But again, there was nothing there. Okay, so I went downstairs. I knew there was nothing there. I could just feel something there up
So
against me.
could you feel that for quite a long period of time then?
Yeah, I'm guessing. Well, I'm guessing. I want to try to guess the time when it came and laid down with me,
That
and
must
I
be
can only
terrifying.
surmise it was probably 3:30, something like that.
Wow. So
Or
that's quite a long period to...
as when things are happening to you, it seems like it's happening forever. You really lose all sense of time, because that's not in the forefront. It's more like what is going on. And of course, anytime you have a paranormal experience, it seems like it's lasting forever, at least ones that are frightening to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went downstairs finally. I all of a sudden, there's nothing there. Went downstairs. Alarms were all still set. Nobody was in the house. I don't have indoor cameras, by the way. Let me mention that. I refuse to have indoor cameras. I've seen too many people that have indoor cameras, and there's things going on, around them.
Yeah.
And for somebody like me or you to have indoor cameras watching you while you sleep, we would never sleep again.
Yeah.
If I seen anything watching me when I'm sleeping, I'll never sleep again. I
Yeah.
mean, we've talked about this before. I keep a TV on all night
Yeah.
long. My husband had to get used to it, because I cannot sleep in silence or darkness.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm the
so
same. I'm exactly the same. And
yeah.
I've always been the same with that since a kid, and before even seeing the ghost in my room that I saw, I always had that feeling that there was something in my room from the beginning. I always felt there was things happening.
Really?
Yeah. Even before I saw anything. But
Oh,
when I go to, if I'm away from my wife and I'm in a hotel, I will always have the TV on.
wow. Yeah.
Even now, I can't not sleep with nothing
Yeah.
going on. I
Yeah.
find it
Yeah.
very difficult.
Yeah. Well, I do that for two reasons. It helps me to kind of lulls me to sleep. I put on like old black and white movies or black and white programs, nothing that's too complex, just the simple stuff.
Yeah,
It lulls me to sleep, or keeps me asleep, or helps me to sleep anyway. It helps my dreams, for one another thing. But the main reason why I do it is because I figure if I have the TV on and an entity decides he wants to walk in the room, he can be entertained by the TV instead
yeah.
of
You can watch a good film.
yeah. What's that? Yeah,
You can watch a
watch TV.
film. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to my TV. Just leave me alone,
Yeah, leave
please.
me alone. Put on what you want to watch and leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the remote. Just leave
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
alone. That's
No,
funny.
I'm totally
That
with
is
you.
It's,
I've done that for a long time, left the telly
yeah,
on, and it gives
yeah,
me a bit of comfort. Like,
exactly.
and I leave it so I can hear it a little bit as well, you know. So
Oh,
it's not
I
just,
have to hear it.
so it's like I can just concentrate on that while I'm trying to sleep. Because otherwise, if I turn the telly off and it's just a dark room, I'm going to
Yeah.
be looking around, you know, getting
Oh,
a bad vibe, and the little noise I'll hear and I'll be up, you know. So
I
yeah,
know. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't do it. I can deal more with. It's easier for me to deal with something human than something paranormal,
yeah,
because you really can't do anything about the paranormal.
no, no, you can't
A
control that.
human, no, you can't. And it's obvious that you really can't stop them.
Yeah,
For those of us who have this curse, you really can't stop them. You can't stop them for whatever reason. I believe that they chose us. Like, oh, here's somebody we can pick on,
yeah,
and they showed themselves to us. You know,
yeah,
I wish it didn't happen, because even no matter where I'm at, no matter which house I've lived in, there's always that thought in the back of my mind. It's not necessarily that the house is bad, the house is fine, but I'm always like, is something going to happen here? Is something going to happen here? And I don't talk about it, not to anybody, because I don't want them to think, oh, guy, are you okay? Are you do we need to move again? Do we
yeah,
need so it's like, oh no, we gotta move.
yeah,
No, I I have not moved from a place because of something like that, but and when I was tiny, I didn't have a choice because I was tiny,
yeah,
uh, um oh, I don't know if I would. If something bad happened to me again, I'd have a priest, I'd have a shaman, I'd you name it, I'd have
yeah.
all these people coming here to bless this house. This is not, I am not going through this again. But so, okay, so I've given you three, and now another one. My husband and I, because we sold the house, the big 2-story, and we moved to this is again that was in Temecula, California, beautiful area, San Diego area, and then we moved to the desert and bought a house there. Now, dig this, you're gonna really laugh at this. There was a graveyard across the street. I know,
Oh,
I know, right?
but you know what? Because I grew up in a haunted house when I was a kid, and literally not even a mile away there was a graveyard. So, and that, is there a connection there? I mean, possibly, but
I wonder, what was I thinking? No world. So anyway, everything was great. No problems whatsoever. No experiences. We just bought the house. We're just as happy as can be. Then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, that's when stuff started. You could feel this energy that was totally different. And I'm not talking about, what we, the living, was going through. I'm talking about these people who were passing away. And doggone it, if they didn't use our house as a point of going from one place to the other.
really,
Fortunately, I'd only seen three in that house. Had three experiences, and two of those experiences were of the same entity, and I'll get to that. But anyway, I had this theory that well, you would understand it, that when there's a lot of death in it, and good grief, there was a lot of death with this horrible disease, and people couldn't bury their families, their family members. They couldn't say goodbye to them. There's just so much, just a huge amount of grief going on. And
yeah,
the funeral, the cemetery across the street was, I mean, they were having like 3 services in a day, every day, and oh my goodness, and so many times I would see these services going on and no family members, because nobody was allowed to gather.
that's
So
so sad.
Oh, it was so sad. So one night, again, I was up in the middle of the night, and I know this was right around 3 o'clock, because this was right. Well, I went from sleeping till 6 a.m. When I got married, to sleep to getting up at 5, and then 4, and then before you know it, I'm up at 3. Now my clock just kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I was sitting in the kitchen area where I kept my computer. My computer was all set up in the kitchen area, and say it was like right here behind me, with the screen was facing this way, and then back in this area here, down the hall, would have been my husband's room, to his office to the left, and then the bathroom to the right, and then you go down a little bit further, and then there's the master bedroom, to the first bedroom down on the right, and then from there was the laundry room on the left. And I'm sitting and I'm just working along on my reading my screen and working along, and just going at it and having a good morning. I've got my coffee, everything's all good. Okay, COVID's happening, but thank you, Lord, it's not so bad for us. We're doing great, we're healthy, that type of thing. And I see this man walk from, because I could see it, the reflection on the screen. I see this man walk from my husband's office into the bathroom that's right directly across the hall from my screen. It's just a reflection. I mean, you know how you can see reflection of everything that's going on in the room from your screen. You
Yeah.
can see it. This is not a TV on, because there was no TV on. I just had some light, some shallow lighting or low lights going on, and the fireplace, because I didn't want to wake my husband with lights or sound. And the TV itself was right up against the bedroom wall, so he would have heard that. So I kept everything pretty quiet. I'm plugging away on my computer, and I see this dark shadow. It was a man, same height, like the same height as my husband, looked like my husband's profile, but because you don't see color when you're looking at a reflection. And I turned around, I said, Mark, and then I go, why is he up? So I walk down the hall, not a long distance down the hall, by the way, and his office light is off, the bathroom light is off. I walk down a little bit further, our bedroom door is closed. I peeked in, he's sound asleep. That was not my husband. I asked him the next morning, honey, did you? But then I knew he couldn't have, because he never walked back out again.
Yeah.
You see, he didn't walk from his office into the bathroom and then walk back out. Whatever this was, walked through our house and kept walking.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man, guess what, Tommy? I did not sit at that computer for months and months and months. As a matter of fact, I bought a laptop so I didn't have to, because that freaked me out that much.
Wow.
So I could sit on the couch and face that area, so I could face that area and not be surprised by looking at this reflection.
Yeah. So when that happened, did you automatically thought that was your husband?
Absolutely. Because that would have been the only logical explanation. Now, the hallway wasn't lit up or anything like that. I was only getting this the light, barely the light reflecting in there from the kitchen. I had adjusting, what do you call that, like a dimmer.
Yeah.
A dimmer. And so I didn't have it on really, really bright, but I literally saw somebody just walk, just as just as you please, just like walk right into this other room.
Yeah.
Into the bathroom. And oh man, I knew it wasn't my husband. And of course, I had already had this like creeped out feeling. So I just sat on the couch till, of course, turned the TV on this time, till he got up. And I asked him, honey, did you go in your office and then walk into the bath? Did you go in your office at all in the middle of the night? He goes, no, why would I? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let me tell you what happened. thankfully, I've got a husband who understands me. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that. He's never had a paranormal experience in his life. And I'm glad for that because he keeps me grounded this way. And that way we're not both going, oh God, you know what I just saw? You know what I just saw? How about what I saw? you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But so that was very unnerving, like I said. And I went ahead and just got me a laptop so I didn't have to do that again.
And that happened in the witching hour as well. So that was
Yeah,
a
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. It was probably then it was probably about and of course it was during COVID and it was but here we were where everybody's kind of like on lockdown and we're still masking and safe distance type thing. So it was pretty rough. It was closer to the beginning of the whole pandemic. And things started to die down, or I shouldn't use that word, calm down, and people were getting out again, and things were coming back to life, thank goodness. And we were just in the beginning of recovering from all that happened, but it wasn't quite yet like it is now. Thank God, like it is now,
Yeah.
where it's a lot easy, lot more eased up, and we're doing so much better. Um, we still have to be careful, but it wasn't like that. It
It feels like we're getting more back to normal.
yeah, yeah, we've kind of adapted a new normal because we had to, in a way, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean, meaning the whole world experienced this,
Yeah.
so
It
we
was a
had to kind
very
of,
strange time for
yeah,
everyone. Like
yeah,
everyone felt it.
right, everybody did, but we started easing back into life, and everything started getting good, and then before you knew it, things were getting better, and you could go to the zoo or you could go to the movies or what have you. And so I got real comfortable, my husband got comfortable, and we were having a just living life. And okay, so I've got my laptop here now. I'm sitting on the couch. This is the same house. I'm sitting on the couch, and again, middle of the night, witching hour, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm typing. All I have a TV on over here. Again, it's against the wall of the master bedroom. I kept it low, but I wanted some light, and then I have the dimmed kitchen, with the dimmers on, and I have the fireplace on, and I'm just typing away. And you know how, again, that feeling you get when something is staring at you,
Yeah.
not somebody, but you get those feelings too, but something was staring at me. I look over at the fireplace, and I I I look like, what? There's this little person. I I don't know. I can't tell you if it was a child or just some sort of creature, but it was a like humanoid figure, and
Wow.
it looked more like, if I can explain this to where you can understand it, it looked more like an X-ray. You know how you look at an X-ray and you can put it up to the light, and you can just detect eyes and face, and
Yeah.
usually an X-ray wouldn't have your eyes itself, but maybe sometimes they do. But anyway, it was like an X-ray of a small figure staring right at me, and I just when I realized, and it just stood there, and I just go, Lord, no, I mean, I got scared because I'm like, no, not again. And it just turned around and went right into the wall. When, yeah, yeah. Well, we ain't done with this little guy yet, let me tell you. I was, I freaked out. All the lights, I mean, literally, I jump up, all the lights are going on to at their brightest. I go into the bedroom, I wake up my husband, honey, I go, I go, I got to tell you something. And he's poor guy. He's like, what? What? I go, oh, I said something else visited me. He goes, oh, and that's kind of like, how maybe your wife does. Oh, come and lay down. It'll be all right. And you're like, I can't lay down. I'm just going to watch TV or whatever you do. I know what I do. I just keep all the lights on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, literally turn on all the lights. Even down the hall on the other side of the house, in those bedrooms and hallways that for the entryway, and you just sit there and you're like, oh man, why, um, eh, why is this happening again? Well, like I said, he turned around and went just like right into, here's the fireplace, and he's just looking at me. I mean, just staring at me. And when he turned around, he just like turned right around, went right into the fireplace. I mean, but I could see him turn around. Now, the only thing I could see that was visible of him was, say, from his knees up, the bottom portion of his legs, if you could call it that, were very, very faint, too faint to really make out. But I could see shoulders, I could see like little arms up in here, and definitely could see his face as clear as I can see yours, but it's more like an X-ray.
Wow. So was it
And
like sort of like see-through, sort of?
yeah, but you can see the features very well. I mean, if I could find an image that would even be close, believe me, I'll be sharing it with you.
Was it
uh,
was it like a human face?
yes, 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 yes. And I I thought, is this a child? Is this somebody that just died recently, and was buried across the street? Because remember, we're still in this house where the cemetery is. I don't know. I really don't know, and I wasn't going to ask him. I have
Yeah.
never spoken to a spirit in my life. I might have called on the Lord to stop something, but I will not talk to a spirit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just won't. And so, like I said, all the lights go off, and right when I just start to get comfortable with life again, and every night, I don't know if I get out of bed early because I can't sleep because I'm afraid something's going to happen, or just again, or is it just because the older I get, the less sleep I get? I don't know. But one night, probably, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks later, maybe it was only about a couple weeks later, my husband went into our guest bedroom to read, because I can't have like the night lights, on the nightstand lights on, because they're too close to my face, but I can have a TV on. Go figure, right? Anyway, he went into the guest bedroom to read. Well, he fell asleep in there. Okay, he fell asleep in the guest bedroom, which I always tell him now, please don't do that to me. Don't leave me alone. and and I'm in our bedroom, just laying on my side, and I'm just asleep. This is still, again, the middle of the night, or right before 3 a.m., maybe 3 a.m. And I'll be dug. And I told him, we have to keep this hallway light on. We have to have this hallway light on. I go, I can't have it dark. You know that I can't have it dark. And even though my TV is on, I still have to have this hallway light on. Now I shut the door just enough to where it's not too bright, but if I have to get out of bed, I can see where that door is. It's got to be bright enough. I Maybe that's why I don't sleep. But anyway, so I'm laying in bed, and I'm asleep, and I could feel something looking at me. So I'm on my side of the bed, and how you just open your eyes. I open my eyes, and I'll be doggone if that little guy was not on my husband's side. He was peering over the side of my husband's side of the bed, looking straight at
Wow.
me, straight at me. I mean, you just take that gasp. I mean, this time he looked exactly the same. But now he's stalking me. I
Yeah.
just, I go, okay, it's time to get up. So that's exactly what I did. that was what happened in that house.
Wow. Wow. Did you get a nasty feeling from whatever this was? I
No,
mean, I know it must be scary. You wake
no.
up and see anything, it's scary, but
Well, yeah, they're all unnerving. They're all they all, startle you and you're like, oh man. But
yeah,
I think when the thing that happened to me when I was little, that conditioned me to pretty much take quite a bit from these things.
yeah,
And even a beating for that man, even a beating later on in life. But that it's just very unnerving. But I did not feel it. None of the few entities that I have ever seen have given me this feeling of real dread and evil and frightened me, except for the one when I was little. And even, I mean, obviously when I'm being beat up, you don't even think about, is because you're not I wasn't seeing anything.
yeah,
Um, I didn't see anything. So I'm really glad about that, actually, to tell you the truth. But no, I didn't feel like that, because you're startled because it's not natural. This isn't natural. And what you're seeing here is not natural. And I don't know if it was a child. Some people have said, well, it's probably a demon. I go, well, I don't know about that, because you can't call everything a demon just because you don't understand it. Because humans, when we die, we don't know if our spirits are going to roam this earth, or try, or you know what I mean?
yeah,
You don't know. You don't know. And, there's not enough, there's no evidence to tell you that you cannot go in and out from one realm to the other, one world to the other, and
yeah,
continue. I believe, like, my grandmother is watching over me. I don't want to see her, because I don't want to take her from the beautiful place she's at. But I like to think that she can still see me.
yeah.
And
We can
yeah,
still connect. We can still connect in some ways.
exactly. Exactly. Um, so you can't call it, people can't call everything a demon. Uh, the entity when I was little, yes, but I believe he was mostly absolutely demonic, because he was so evil.
Yeah,
What he did was purely intentionally to scare me to death,
yeah.
and to
And
shut
to
me.
scare a young child like that, I mean, that's you've got to
Yeah,
be you've got to be an evil person, entity, whatever it is. You've got to be able to
exactly.
do that.
Yeah, yeah, and then of course whatever beat me up was either I don't know if it was a demon or just somebody very angry. A spirit that was just very angry, that maybe that things weren't going the same as they used to before I bought the house. Maybe that something else happened long before, and because I'm intuitive to this stuff, it's angry. Maybe it was angry because it was the person, it was dead. Maybe it was angry because, who knows. I can't say that was a demon either, but it was scary.
Yeah,
you know maybe it might be because I didn't see a face. So, you can't, I don't know. But they're not, when you do see faces of entities, they're not all the same. What I've seen, again, I seen a shadow figure that I thought it looked like my husband's silhouette. That's basically what it was a silhouette, because that's about all I could see in the reflection. um it looked like my husband's silhouette. You know it startled me very much, because he wasn't up. So it wasn't him.
yeah,
The little tiny entity that visited me twice is very, very startling, because it's not natural. None of this stuff is natural, but it not certainly not to our minds. But
yeah,
whatever energy it is that we have, it surely attracts them. It
yeah,
surely attracts them.
yeah,
um I've had people telling me I'm psychic, and that's why this happens. I've had people, or you're a sensitive, or I don't know, because I'm just learning about this now, so I don't know. um I've never dabbled in any kind of divination in my life. So I don't have to. Like you, we don't have
Yeah,
to.
no, yeah, yeah,
Why? You want to talk to grandpa? Come on over here. You don't need anything. You don't need anything to communicate. I don't want to communicate.
yeah.
You know,
I
I
was
don't
going to
want.
say, do you feel like you could possibly open yourself up a lot more if you wanted to? I know you don't want to,
Absolutely.
but if you,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely do. You know, like many of us, we have this, well, I think everybody's got a precognitive ability. I really do. I believe that everybody has got an amount of, if you want to call it ESP. But everybody has it. You
yeah,
know, I believe so. I absolutely do. I think that for me, I've closed it off so much and refused to allow it in as much as possible. And that's why I don't have more encounters than I have, because let me tell you, I don't want them. You know, like I said, I don't want them. Um, I I know that I don't know how you would open yourself up more. But as much as I can, I will not talk to them for one thing. You know, I don't look for them. But they find me. So, you know, I'm just now talking about this stuff openly. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. I know that like anything else, you can hone your senses. You know, you can hone your craft if you want, for lack of a better word. You know, you can hone your senses same way. I
yeah.
don't know what you do that, but you know, I just want mine dulled, like completely dull. I want to be like my husband, like regular people, you know, that don't have this kind of thing, you know.
It
But
is cool though to know that there's a lot more to this world.
oh my goodness, yes. I don't know about you, but yeah, I mean, I have some dreams that are absolutely unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. And
Do
you
you
know,
have some dreams that sort of feel real, and then some dreams that you know is a dream, and then sometimes you wake up and it's like that. I just felt like I've been living in another world for a year. You know, you get dreams like
really?
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or you've gone somewhere that you know is like so far from your home,
Yeah,
and but you're cool with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're cool with it. I think I've had one dream in my entire life where I could fly, and that was really neat.
Oh
You
wow.
know, that was really neat. But other than that, they're usually they're either nightmares or they're goofy. You know, something that's like this can't be, this is not real. And why are you talking? I don't know you. But I've also had dreams where I'm entertaining big entertainers, but these are all entertainers who have passed away.
Interesting.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
all
I
entertainment.
think there's a lot more to dreams than we know. Like I think there's more to dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. And you know, I've seen myself in situations where, you know, I was actually helping somebody from something bad, you know. Yeah, one time I had a dream where I was helping, I don't know how I got in this car or this truck. It was actually a truck, you know, like a pickup truck. And this woman was stuck on the railroad, and a train on the railroad tracks, and a train was coming, and I helped her get the truck into gear so she could push on the gas and take off, but she was stuck on the tracks. And then all of a sudden you're not there anymore, you're somewhere else doing something else, you know. uh,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. Just last night I had a dream that I was asleep, only to find out that I was in a dream that I was asleep. Doesn't that sound weird?
Yeah. Yeah.
You wake up and then you wake up.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've had that. I've had that. It's very
Yeah,
strange. I've had a
yeah.
dream where I've woke up, I felt like I've got myself ready and stuff. And then I've sort of woke up again. I was like, I thought I just done this. I've had dreams like that. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that so interesting?
It's
It's so
weird.
interesting.
Dreams
But
are strange.
yeah, I have this sense that I'm not real crazy about, but if I walk into a house or something and I can tell, I can feel something, you probably have that same thing. I went to my cousin's house. This was many years ago. It was I'd been into her house before, but it was different this one time. And I I went into the bathroom, and it's an older house. It's a beautiful old Victorian house, which, believe me, I don't want any more old houses. And it's like, keep the old houses. I don't want them. I don't want to be there. Anything can happen anywhere, but that's where I've had most of mine, were the old houses. And I I was in the bathroom and I'm washing my feet in this big nice claw foot tub, and I I could feel something. I'm like, okay, time to get out, time to get out. I wipe dry my feet off, and I walk into her room, and I told her, I said, Cole, I just felt this man in the bathroom. I go, she goes, she goes, what? I go, yeah, I didn't see him. I could just feel this presence. And I said, did something happen in this house? She goes, well, yeah. Why didn't you tell me before this? Apparently, a doctor owned the house prior, and he had a heart attack. I
Wow.
never knew this. I never knew this.
Wow.
A heart attack in the house and died.
Wow. And you picked up on that. Wow. That does sound like psychic ability there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there have been other incidences, things like that. There's one that's really bad. I don't know if I should share it. It was about 9/11.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, this was terrifying. I was in bed, and I can't say that it was actually 9/11. I just can tell you that something happened. Um, I was in bed, and I jumped out of bed. I'm in my mind. I'm sleep. I was a sleepwalker. I've still on occasion been a sleepwalker. I was a sleepwalker after that incident when I was a tiny child. I was a sleepwalker after that. Matter of fact, my family had to put, my mom had to put locks on the doors, the front doors, and all over the house, up at the top, so I couldn't open the doors because I was a sleepwalker. But it was after that incident. Guess my little spirit just wasn't going to feel rest. And I woke up. Again, I jumped out of bed. I could see this huge ball of fire, and I slammed into the wall, the corner of the wall, running into the fire, not running out of the fire. I was running into the fire. I got slammed up against my head. You'd think that would have woke me up. Tommy, it didn't. I turned around and slammed into the other corner. They were catty corner from each other. I'm still trying to rush into this ball of fire. I don't know if I'm rushing into to save people or what the heck's going on. About 4 days later, 9/11 happened.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
that's the most, that right there was the most devastating premonition I've ever had.
Yeah.
I've had others where, I told my son, don't drive on this freeway. Don't drive on this freeway. I mean, I'm adamant about it. Don't drive on this freeway. And he did. And guess what? He got in a wreck. No kidding. No kidding.
Oh, wow.
I kept telling him it was a particular freeway. I told him, don't drive that whatever you do, don't drive that freeway. Just don't drive that freeway. And he did. And yeah. But he was okay. He was okay.
That's
Thank goodness.
good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Thank
But
goodness. Yeah.
wow, though,
Wrecked
you
my
picked,
car, but he was okay.
yeah, yeah,
He
wow.
was okay. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But another one I had was, I'm just going to give you the ones that stand out the most. When I lived in Louisiana, I was hanging out with a group of really nice people. And we were all just talking, and another lady comes in. She's, going to join the little party we got going here. And uh, she sits down and she has this big band-aid on the side of her head, like right from here to here, right by the temple, and I'm thinking, as soon as she sat down, she sat right next to me, and I touched her arm. I'm a very touchy person. Hi, how you doing? That kind of thing. I like to touch people. Or it's just like, it's just one of those things, kind of a greeting. And she goes, I'm fine. And I go, I looked at her and I go, you really got to stay away from those bikers. And she goes, what? And I go, you really got to, you got to stay away from those bikers. And she goes, oh my God, she goes, that's what this is. They stabbed me. You couldn't see anything from this bandage, but she had gotten a stab wound right here in her face. And I'm nothing against bikers. I love bikers.
Yeah.
My son's one,
Yeah.
but it's nothing against bikers. It's just, that was that moment.
Yeah, you picked up on that. Wow.
Exactly.
And how did that just come into you as a thought, and it just came out
like that? I don't know why. I just blurted it. And
very interesting.
Those are these other, the lesser premonitions, and I would call that one of the lessers, because thank goodness she was okay, and it wasn't something, I couldn't have warned her before, and I'd seen her before. I'd seen her, a few days before, and everything is all rosy. And, it's only when you get it in that moment, it's in a snap. And a lot of times you kind of just blurt it. Not, it's hard to explain. You're not, it's a thought that comes in your mind. And for whatever reason, you just, without forethought, you just blurt it. You just start speaking it,
Yeah.
And maybe you're shocked, or I don't know how this works. Again, I don't actually know how this works or why it works, but it does. And when you sense something, you got to make sure that you pay attention to your senses. It's that we call your gut feeling. Make sure you pay attention to that gut feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I have always been sorry when I didn't. Always been sorry when I didn't listen to that voice or that feeling, or whatever you want to call it. I now today, if something tells me don't go down this street, take the opposite street, believe me, I do it. And I've done that before, where I didn't go down a certain street and found out there was a car accident, just blocks away, which would have been where I would have gone. I mean, this is the kind of thing, I mean, it doesn't help me when it comes to gambling or anything. I can't give you numbers for the lottery or anything. I wish I'd be rich.
Yeah.
But
wow. You've definitely got abilities. I mean, that's for sure. Wow.
It's very weird. I know I'll never get used to it. You just don't, because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Thank you. I guess it is, I'm glad I'm speaking to somebody who's just as sensitive, with paranormal stuff. I can't imagine myself telling somebody unless they're like a family member, real close family member, that's, just starting to open up, because you can't be, it's like, you can't be hosting these shows if you don't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, most people that I speak to, most, even people that are not big believers in the paranormal, most people have had some sort of experience that they're like, you know,
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you speak to a lot of people that go, no, I'm not really into it, but there was this one time, and they tell you this amazing story that's like, wow, how can you not
You
believe that
not
there's
believe
more?
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I can see why somebody would say, no, I can't, I don't, this happened, that happened, but I don't believe it because, it's kind of fearful.
yeah,
It makes you nervous.
yeah, and you
You
can't
know,
control it. You can't control what's happening.
exactly. And you want to just stay in the present, and you want to be able to continue with, your work and your home life, and not have to think about this stuff. And then there's those of us like you and I, who this stuff happened to us when we were young, really little, that we don't have any choice but to believe in it, because
Yeah,
we were young then, we can believe in it today. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, and we're still chasing the answers.
Exactly.
That's why we're here.
And I just started tracing the answers, and I haven't gotten, nobody can really give us concrete answers, because each experience is individual. You
Yeah,
can't, this isn't a textbook. This is not textbook whatsoever.
yeah.
I listened to your podcasts, by the way, and they're amazing. Some of the people
Oh,
that you
thank you.
interview, oh, I'm not kidding. I have been so blown away by some of this stuff. I'm like, wow, you know, uh, that's not textbook.
Yeah,
You It's not
yeah,
textbook. So there's no answer, real concrete answer, real definitive answer for it. It's something that can change from day to day. I
yeah, for
remember,
sure.
yeah, I remember you mentioning that when you first started doing this, you were having more activity, and it's
Yeah,
finally starting to die down. I don't want to say too much because we don't want to invite him, but
yeah, yeah.
nobody's allowed. Leave me alone.
Not
No,
tonight. Not tonight.
not tonight,
Please.
please.
Just gonna put it out there.
Not tonight. Gotta sleep. I hope.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
you're right. I do feel like yeah, when I especially at the start, well, I have quite a lot of experiences now that I sort of pick up on that before I might have been like, no, and put it to the back of your mind. But now I'm
Yeah,
always thinking about this stuff. So there's a lot more happening. And
yeah.
I do think you can invite this stuff as well. The more you open up, the more things are going to happen to anyone. I
Yeah.
say that to anyone.
Oh my. Oh. So I should play them up, man. I better be quiet.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm not. Okay, we're gonna end this
yeah,
interview.
yeah, yeah. Good night.
Oh
Not
no.
tonight.
No, yeah. Oh, guy. Oh, man. Yeah.
I'm
I,
very. I'm sorry. I've got
no,
to ask you more about this little guy that was in your room.
yeah.
Do you was he? Would you say that it was? I know it was obviously an entity, but was it a human or was it something
You
a
know,
creature?
yeah. Because it was like an X-ray. I mean, I could uh, definitely see a face, the eyes, the little head. Again, like I said, the little shoulders, and coming down to about here. I didn't see hands, and then I seen a torso and to the legs, but I mean to the thighs, and then nothing. So it was really weird because it's just like I would say, well, whatever it is standing on something, but those portions were not visible. It stopped right around here,
Yeah.
and it this part looked so, was so easily seen, but then from here there was like almost nothing, uh not clear enough to see it. But yes, the face, it looked human.
Was
Yeah.
it like it was between two sort of worlds or realities? Was it
Oh,
sort of like it was
absolutely.
in between?
Yes. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. So like it's just standing, maybe, this might be very helpful. Like it's just standing between, I call it the netherworld, or the other world, otherworldly area,
Yeah.
and then our world. And it's actually just here,
in between.
Occupying.
So you're seeing a bit, but there's still a bit on the
Oh,
other side, possibly.
yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. You know, I never thought of that.
Because I feel like there's possibly a lot going on. There's a lot going on around us that we can't see.
Right now. Oh,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely.
There could be other. I'm sure there is other things around us now that we can't see, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's a scary
absolutely.
thought. That's a scary thought.
We've got an audience right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, this is scary. But as long as I don't turn around and find, somebody standing next to me as other than my husband, I feel
yeah,
all
yeah,
right. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Yeah, tonight when I go to bed, if I go to bed, because I'm probably going to be up for like 6 hours, like, oh God, I can't sleep. I don't want to sleep.
yeah,
I got to tell you, Tommy, this is so great because we can laugh about it.
yeah,
That's when you got to ease up about it. You got no choice. This is the way life is for us. Period. You can
yeah,
either, turn tail and run and hide in a corner the rest of your life. I mean, obviously we keep our TVs on, but I mean, I don't sit here like this all day.
yeah. You got to
You know?
embrace it. Yeah,
And I feel so sad for people that have gone through this and nobody's listening to them.
yeah,
Nobody's believing them and nobody's listening to them. That's where I was from 1964 till just 2023, the middle of 2023. I mean, that's an awful long time. That's an
yeah,
awful long time not to be able to talk about something. I mean, of course, when the less you talk about it, the less you think about it. But there's no such thing as out of sight, out of mind. Not when you have encounters like this. No, you will always wonder when you walk into a house, do you feel something weird? I still do like to shake people's hands because when you shake somebody's hand, and I like, eye to eye contact, you want to see if you feel something strange or is there something strange in the house or is there, uh, you can't help it. You
yeah,
have that, it's in the back of your mind to just, it's kind of to prepare yourself at all times, and you prepare yourself. Um, I'm grateful we've only lived in this house for just about 7 months and nothing's happened. Knock on wood,
yeah, yeah. Touch wood.
knock on wood. But there's no telling. And this house is only 5 years old, but anything can travel through. And this point that you just spoke about, that maybe he was like this X-ray. No, he could have been like this X-ray because he was between in this thin portion of reality for me, and which was his reality, but not all the way into my reality, and certainly not all the way out of his.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
I mean,
That's brilliant.
could he even be looking at you and saying, "What's that? Who's
What do
that?"
you
You don't know, do you? It could be. But we're
do?
seeing these ghosts, and they're just as scared of us as we are of them.
Right? Oh God, I love it. I love it. What a great, what a great thought. You got a point there though. I never thought of that either. Like, what is this manner of creature?
Yeah,
Thinking about that, they're thinking that about us. Good grief, I never thought about that. See how good this is to talk about this
yeah.
stuff.
That's it. That's
I
it.
love to allow my mind to try to pick different
Yeah.
possibilities. But sure, why not? Why wouldn't that be possible? Good man. That's really, really brilliant.
Yeah.
because,
But
because he was so curious about me, right? He came twice.
yeah, yeah,
And he was the
yeah,
second time, and he didn't scare me, but the second time he's just staring at me. It's almost like that. I think there's a Twilight Zone episode where they only had enough time to pull the girl out because she's between these two worlds, but out of the wall or some sort of crazy thing. There's just that moment between the veil, maybe so to speak, that they're allowed in or allowed out or what have you. And God, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be just as curious of us?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I honest to
Was
goodness, I never
was
thought.
there any possible similarities between that entity that you saw and the first boy that you saw? Was it was there any could there be a link there?
I don't think so because he wasn't as tall. I mean, you know, I have to confess, I wondered about that, but the height was the boy that I saw would have been, say, a 7-year-old. So he would have been, I'm 5'4". He would have been, well, 3 feet, three
Yeah.
feet tall. This was more like 2.5 feet tall, if that makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
This does make a difference
Yeah.
because we have, our bed is a little bit tall, from the mattress is large, but it's a platform bed frame. So this little creature was standing on the other side of the bed, on my husband's side of the bed, with only his little face looking over, like he's reaching to look. So there's no way it would have been the same child.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
Did it have like clothing on or anything like that? Or was
No,
it
you
just
couldn't see anything like that. And you couldn't see anything like that at all. Mm-mm. No.
interesting?
Again, I didn't, I couldn't, uh, I could just see that torso, the upper body, torso, and to the thighs, but literally, when he just turned around and just walked right in the, I'm like, you didn't just do that. No, I know I have a really warped sense of humor about this because I don't have any other choice but to have this.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
didn't,
Yeah.
I could go stark raving mad, honest to
Yeah.
goodness. No,
I think
yeah,
that's a good way to be.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how I am as well. So that's a good way
yeah,
to
I
be able
know.
to.
I can tell. I can tell. I can tell, and that's really wonderful. It's refreshing. Um, but it was mostly to be quite honest with you. I wasn't looking at if he had clothes. It was his face,
Yeah.
just like, whoa, what? You know, I mean, you don't take a double take because you don't have that enough time to do that, but you do go, what? That
Yeah.
kind of,
And you could
you know?
make out eyes,
Oh,
nose,
absolutely.
mouth.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
especially the eyes. Especially the eyes, but it's not in color, or it's almost, I don't know, just uh, one dimensional kind of, or two-dimensional. It's not like 3D,
Yeah.
but yet you could see, just it's almost like a vapor that turns around and kind of fades off. um Nothing like what I seen when I was little. That guy, and again, it might be because my mind was still so pure then. It's not so much now, but yet I could still see him now. Say, for instance, if I believe, just like you when you mentioned earlier, if I sharpened my ability, if I even knew how to do that. I don't know how to do that, but if I didn't block it out as much, maybe I would have seen more of him, you know. But or maybe your theory, it could possibly be the answer, that it's just got that it's not all the way out from his world and not all the way in ours. I think that's really brilliant. I never thought of that. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Interesting stuff. Tony, I have absolutely loved talking to you tonight. Thank you so much. I'm so
Oh,
glad
same
that
to you.
you're coming out with your experiences, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your experiences.
Thank you. It's been an honor, honest, and I appreciate your giving me this opportunity to talk about it, and talk about it openly, and with somebody who absolutely, understands and can exchange, our stories and experiences. And thank you for the great questions, because you've opened, and your theory even, that's really good. I honestly never thought of something like that. But
Thank you.
it makes sense, that they're obviously not in in this world 100%, and we can't be in theirs because we're solid, solid and still in the flesh. And then the other one I appreciate that you said is that it's possible that they're just as startled by our presence.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Because
brilliant.
you hear that a lot, especially what I've experienced with shadow figures. A lot of the time with that, I've woken up and they're standing over me, and when I've sort of realised and I'm taking it in, then they're gone. And you sort of think, are they watching you? And then when you've seen them, they don't want to be seen. Basically, I don't know, but it's the possibilities are endless with the
Oh
paranormal.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I just, when you mentioned that, I just realized I had one more story. I'll make it quick. I'll make it real quick.
No, that's cool. That's
It
cool.
was from the same house, the old house that I grew up in. Let me take a sip of my coffee.
So was this the first house where you had your
Yeah,
first experience?
yeah. This is you just reminded me. We had it was a rollout bed in the living room, and mom still had her room, grandma still had her room, but my mother bought one of it was like, I guess they call it a Riviera bed, and you pull it out and it's like you got a queen size bed or what have you, because they didn't have king size back in the late 60s or anything. There wasn't any kind of bed like that yet. Everybody, your best that you could get would be a queen size anyway, or a full size, maybe that's what it was. Anyway, so I had a little friend come over from school, and of course we wanted to have a little slumber party together. I just remembered this one. I meant to tell you this one earlier. And next to the couch was a big fireplace, a really big, beautiful fireplace. It actually almost covered the entire wall. And my little friend, she came over and she spent the night, and we rolled the bed out, and mom got the blankets, the usual stuff. And in front of the couch was the TV, which we tried to keep the TV on for as long as we could. And then of course it was time to shut the TV off. But they kept the kitchen light on, because the kitchen light would still show you how you can, it would still shine into the living room. So we were both in bed, and I went ahead and slept nearest to the fireplace, because see, the couch is so close to the fireplace, not dangerously close, by the way, for fires. but this, the seating area was closer to the fireplace. I mean, the bed, when you rolled the bed out, that was close to the fireplace. The seating area wasn't, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
until the bed's rolled out, it's not close to the fireplace. You're not in any danger. But of course we weren't going to start any fires either. And I slept closest to that side because when you to get out of bed, it was a lot narrower of a little path to go around and then go into the bathroom if I needed to. Well, my little friend, she slept in where it's open, where she could just, get out of bed and then go into the bathroom. We only had one bathroom too, by the way. It's called a Jack and Jill design. You have a bathroom in between two bedrooms that both
Okay.
bedrooms, it's accessible from either bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's the only bathroom in the whole house. Again, this is that old house I was telling you about. It had to be at least 100 years old. Who knows? And we're talking and chatting, and we finally fall asleep, and she falls asleep first, and I'm falling asleep. I'm just kind of in a twilight, and I could feel like you talking about this shadow figure. I could feel something near me. Having had experiences in that house, I know better. I'm already ready in tune to this stuff. And I could see this. It's like he came out of the fireplace and he walked around. It was all just one big big though, this time really, really tall. all black, this real dark shadow, stepped like kind of like he stepped out of the fireplace, but through the whole bricks and everything, stepped out and kind of looked over me, if you could say that, because I didn't really see a face. And then he walked around the front, the foot of the bed, and then stepped over near my friend. And by this time, of course, I'm wide awake. I'm looking and I'm terrified. I didn't wake her up. And then I don't know if it, I sat up, ready to wake her up or ready to run for my mom or something. I don't know exactly what I was thinking at that moment, but anyway, it was like this big hole opened up in the floor like this, just dark, big, dark black hole. And then this thing just went down into it. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention this one sooner. And let me tell you, I didn't go to sleep anymore that night. And I bet you anything it happened around 3 a.m.
Yeah.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's how it happens all the time. And it wasn't like it didn't move so fast, but if I could give you an idea, it came here and it looked at me, got kind of towered over me for a minute, and then went around and slowly moved. But this was this is really cool to think about or to talk about, because it didn't move in that jagged strobe like movement like the skeleton did. It was more fluid, like going around the bed, and then it looked over at her, and then it just went down. And I'm already sitting up by now, and it just goes down. A hole opened and it went down. So, I mean, gosh, what else is gonna happen?
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
How I didn't mention that one, because it was right between the two worst ones. I mean,
Wow.
you're talking about a shadow figure. I've had, the other one that looked like my husband, and I don't know if it was a shadow figure or not. It's just that, on a dark black screen, you're going to only see a shadow, so to speak, or silhouette. But those were the only two I've ever seen as far as shadow figures go. And
Wow.
when we're on the subject about things that are really, really interesting, I wonder if we've ever even, in the natural, talked to somebody who was a spirit and they could disguise themselves. You think that's
Yeah.
possible? Is
Yeah.
that like too far off?
No, I think that myself. I mean, you could be walking along the street and someone walks past you. How do you know if that is an entity, or you don't know? Because
I know.
the ghost that I saw in my room when I was a kid, it was a solid man. It just looked like a man was there. It wasn't see through.
Oh,
The only way that I sort of obviously I've called my mum in the room and she couldn't see him, but I could still see him. And he was sort of dressed like he looked like William Shakespeare. That was the sort of look that he
oh
had.
my gosh.
But he was solid. It was just like a man was like, if he was walking along the street and I saw him sitting on a bench,
Really?
I would just think, oh, that guy looks like he's dressed in, William
Period
Shakespeare
clothing.
style. Yeah.
My
So,
goodness.
so you could possibly walk past someone that is, I often think that actually.
You mean your mom? He was still standing there when your mom came in, and you
Yeah.
could see
He
him
was
when
he
your
was
mom.
sitting at my desk in my room,
Oh,
and I was on the top bunk, so I was looking down to him,
oh my
but I could
goodness.
see him like solid form. And obviously I freaked out massively. I
Of
called my mum in
course.
the room. My mum couldn't see him, but he was still there. He didn't go anywhere.
Oh my
And
gosh.
but because I was quite a scared kid all the time, I was always trying to get into my mum and dad's bedroom, and they would often let me go in their room and sleep like during the night if I was scared. But I think on this one
Oh,
occasion, my mum was like, "No, you're staying in your room." I think I was getting to the age where they had to sort of keep me in my room.
yeah.
And I spoke to my mum recently about it, and she feels bad, now that she made me
Oh,
stay in the room that night. And I
oh,
just remember going under my covers and just sweating
oh
because I was
my
so scared, and I
goodness.
just kept looking. And he was there all night. This guy stayed
What?
from what I can remember, it
He
was,
just still just,
yeah. Every time I looked, he was just there. In the morning, it was gone, and I never saw that guy again. But it's very strange, very
you mean,
strange.
oh, wow. But like you said, wonder if he was just curious of you.
Yeah, possibly. I
Oh,
mean,
and,
he didn't move. This guy was literally sort of sitting there at my desk,
oh
looking,
my gosh.
yeah, looking up in
Oh,
my direction. But I don't know if he was seeing me. I don't know
oh,
because he didn't even blink. But it was, yeah, it was weird.
oh.
It's
Well,
very
yeah.
strange.
Well, I gotta say, the spirits that I have seen, I've never seen them blink either.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if they need to
You
blink on the
know,
other side.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
strange.
Oh man. So, guy, you have just made another really great point. It- we don't know if they see us or if they see us and are just like curious, like what manner of creature is
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And or if you know they don't
yeah,
realize, because I've heard that, like a lot of times a person doesn't know that they're dead. You know,
yeah, yeah,
spirit
yeah.
doesn't know that they're dead.
And that's a scary thought, like to be trapped sort of in a moment in time where you're just constantly on a loop, maybe. I don't know, but it's,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I feel like there's different types. I feel like you have got some possible spirits that are trapped energy, and it's, especially when something bad happens in a house,
Yeah.
that energy itself maybe can become a spirit. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like there's different types. I feel like there's different. I don't
Oh,
know.
absolutely. Because everyone that I've seen is never, none of them were the same.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, even from the skeleton man, obviously he was horrifying, scary, and and ugly, but he could manipulate that his facial structure, even though it was basically a skeleton. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. Because yeah, that's the best way I can put it. And the child being, uh, I guess, I mean, the way his eyes were basically the same as the skeleton man's, but they weren't scary. And I don't remember his being blue. But when I say that he could manipulate the same thing with expression, because he had his brows kind of furrowed, like, like, oh, please forgive you, that kind of thing. Not like mad, but
yeah.
but sad in the expression that was really something else. That was something else. I will never forget that. Never
Can you
forget.
remember what period that boy looked like he might have been in, or was it? Did he have
Oh,
did he have
yeah,
clothing on that might?
yeah. You mean, as far as if I noticed clothing or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Was he of
I did.
our time or?
No, I didn't. I didn't notice clothing because it was more like if yeah, I didn't notice clothing. It's just like the rest of him. I didn't think of the rest of him. I can't draw that memory part back. It's really the eyes and the sadness that I seen that I can just give you the best description of. But as far as clothing, I didn't see any. It's the same with the skeleton man. I didn't really see any. I mean, I didn't see any kind of bareness, male bareness or anything like that. It wasn't like that. It's not like that. It's just not like that. You know, um, it's more, you see the limbs, you see the legs, you see the, torso. It's the face that you see, or at least that I seen. It's the face, it's the head.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's the same thing.
when
Go
you're in
ahead.
that position, that's the first thing you're going to look at, their
Yeah.
face. That's
Yeah.
what we connect to.
Yes.
So that's what you're gonna. Yeah,
And again, I'm only 4 years old, so I'm not going to look at detail like that.
yeah,
It's face. That's how I connect. When you're tiny, on the other hand, you were 10 years old, so you were a little bit. You were what, 6 years older than I was when I
yeah,
had first, and so you can differentiate. Besides, this guy sat there at your desk all night long. For goodness
yeah,
sake,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've always just thought, and it wasn't William Shakespeare, I don't think, but that that is what I've always every time I see William Shakespeare, it takes me back to that moment. I
like
don't.
yeah, like the neck pieces and all that ruffle.
Yeah,
The
he just had that. I just remember being able to see because the lights were off. It was dark, but we had street lights that used to come in, so you could pretty much see the room, the layout
same
of the
thing.
room. I remember we had like Fred Flintstone curtains, because I could
Oh,
see Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. I think that's his name, Barney Rubble.
yeah, yeah, I do.
But so I
Yeah.
could you could see everything, and I could even see like the brown suit that he was wearing. I could even tell that it was a brown suit, like complete body suit.
Oh, see
Because
now,
I was watching him for like when I first woke up, I remember seeing him and just watching it for ages. Like, am I seeing this? Like, is this, And then obviously after realizing, screaming, get my mum in, and
yeah.
yeah,
And then he's still there when your mom walks in. So
yeah,
so you still I mean what that's a really that really had to mess with your mind because you're like, Mom, can't you see him? I get
yeah.
that. Oh my goodness.
And my mum remembers that night that I called her in and was going mad. So she says she's sorry, but it sort of
Oh,
set me on this path. So,
something. Isn't that something? Well, you're like probably at least 30 or more years younger than me. So you're lucky. We are both lucky that we've got this community now, to help us through it. And hopefully we can be a positive, influence or a positive give, I don't know. Somebody watches this video and they think, oh man, she's really
no, not at all.
I hope that it helps somebody. I really
Yeah,
do. I really do. Because I mean, it's certainly helping me to talk about it, but I really hope that somebody can draw something from our experiences and our conversation here. Because really, honestly, we don't have a control over it. We don't have any control. And nobody should ever feel bad about what's happening to them. You're perfectly sane. I know you are. I know I am, at least to some degree. Some people might argue that, but we're just trying to figure out what in the world is going on and why is this happening to us. Well, and there's a lot more of us than I ever imagined. I mean,
100%.
yeah, and it's pretty liberating. It's very, very, it's interesting. And what did you call it? A tribe, a paranormal tribe. We've got a paranormal
That's it.
tribe.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful. It's wonderful, actually. You know, I've never been able to talk to somebody like I am with you right now, Tommy. Not a single person in my entire life.
Oh, well,
And
I'm
so I
I'm very
really,
honoured. Very honoured.
oh, so am I. So am I. So am I. Ah, it's been quite a
Thank
night.
thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate you coming on so much. Can you tell the listeners if they want to find you where they can find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter. Okay. You can find me, you mean as far as like an email address or something? Is
I
that what
mean,
you're
whatever you're happy to share. If you don't want to share that, that's absolutely fine.
email address, maybe not yet, but
Yeah, that's cool.
they can message on YouTube if this is going on
Yeah, that's
YouTube,
cool.
and
Yeah,
then I would be happy to respond. I'm happy
awesome.
I'm happy to respond to anybody, without a doubt. If anybody wants to message, after this recording, and anybody wants to talk to me, if somebody reaches out to me, I'm happy to contact them, or they can contact me. But yeah, but I'm gonna not give my actual
Yeah,
address
that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
or social security number or
Yeah, no, none of that. None of that.
but yeah, but they can find me on Twitter. On Twitter, you can find me at Toni Lawler on Twitter. So
Awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Tony, thank you. I'm so glad we connected. And
Uh,
hopefully we can carry on sharing our experiences.
yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
I just know we will. And it's just so great to have talked to you, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me on this show. And it's just been so, I don't know. I feel like something's lifted, like a just burden, you know.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's very interesting. This is all so new to me. It's like so interesting, and I'm grateful for it.
Well, I'm grateful to have you on. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
hopefully we can talk again soon.
Oh, I hope so.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, Tommy. Thank you. Bye-bye.